Hey everybody, welcome back to the RGR Football Channel here on YouTube. My name, as you all know, Daniel Harms, and today I wanted to go a little more off cuff because I feel like after a bye, after we've seen the offense be what it has been for the majority of the last 2 months, and then they come out of the bye like that, showing you that we don't really know. I'm not going to speculate on whether they care or not because that's not something we'll ever know. And ever be able to really discern based on play and play calling. But offensively, this Chiefs team, it feels a little less to be, a little less to be desired. We want more from the offense. I think everyone does. They are very, saying we're not playing at our best. We haven't played our best football yet. That tells me that one, they have acknowledged it over the course of the last 2 months, and in that bye that they did too. And this game, in my opinion, was an opportunity to show what they have in store. But unfortunately, they were short sighted in that execution aspect. I think the first drive was perfect. They did everything you could possibly have wanted, continuously first down after first down after first down. And then they were able to end it with a touchdown with Patrick Mahomes leaving a pocket and getting out and rushing for a touchdown, something he didn't do the rest of the game in terms of rushing. So I'm a little underwhelmed with how it's being received, myself included. Initially, watching the game, I was just kind of a little bit bored, but they won 22-9, and I know a lot of people hate this statement and they hate hearing it, especially with an offense that has been as explosive as they have been in the past. But winning is winning, okay? And at the end of the day, at the end of any day, if this is how you play the game, every game in front of you, including all the way through the playoffs, okay? If this is how it turned out, and they won the Super Bowl doing almost exactly this by playing great defense and just kind of making it happen on offense occasionally. I think that I wonder how people would view that at the end of all of this. Like, how would it be viewed? Do I think they can win the Super Bowl playing like this? No, I do not. But that's only because I haven't seen them shut down an elite offense playing very well. Okay, that would be Buffalo. If they were to do that against Buffalo, I think that would be a pretty good indication that not only is this Chiefs team able to win in multiple ways that we've seen in the past, but they're complete, more complete than they were when they won the Super Bowl in 2019 or 2020, that 2020 Super Bowl. This whole experience has shown me that I take playing defense for granted. And I take having this great offense that the Chiefs have had over the last 3 years for granted. We're seeing them win 5 games in a row. Yes, against lesser offense, against lesser opponents, but those division games are always tough. They destroyed the Raiders. They destroyed the Broncos. They couldn't do anything offensively. And Dak Prescott came into Arrowhead, didn't play well, and part of it was because the Chiefs' defense was that good. They were well prepared. They've played a couple lesser opponents too, but they're going to play the Raiders again next week, and they're going to come up against the Chargers again after that, playing a lot of AFC West matchups down the stretch here, which I think is good for them. It gets you competitively in the game, and I think that that's going to help them going into the playoffs. But let's just kind of take a step back and look a little bit at what's happened on offense. Just because I think we talked a little bit about it last night. I think it's good to have both perspectives. While in one hand, the Chiefs couldn't finish drives after the first drive. Okay, they ended up with, I think, three field goals, and they picked six. But I think every single drive they had opportunities, okay, to extend those drives. So I know a lot of people are upset at the play calling, and a lot of people are upset at the scheme. I think both of those have been fine. Specifically against the Broncos. Let's just talk about the Broncos game. Coming out of bye, I think Andy Reid schemed it well. I think players were open. I think people were just dropping balls. Mahomes was a little inaccurate, taking some throws that he doesn't need to make sidearm into that three-quarter slot. that's being talked about a lot too. And I know that Mahomes is going to find a way to get everything on the right track going into the playoffs. That's what this team does. They find a way to right the ship going into the postseason. The last 2 seasons they've done it, and they've made it to the Super Bowl. That is obviously the goal here. So the biggest question I have is the first 15, is it going from Andy to Eric, which I think was answered last night with Patrick Mahomes' frustration at the play call. I think it was more frustration that he was being penalized for the hand gestures, which doesn't get called. He does that every single, pretty much every single hard count, the whole moving your hands like that. And then I think that frustration seeped in a little bit to him yelling at EB, but he yelled at EB, okay, about the play calling to get it in. So he may have been also a little upset about how long it took for that to happen. So I do think that Eric Bieniemy has been calling plays. I think he's been calling plays lately. Now, I don't believe that Eric Bieniemy calling plays is making people drop the football. I don't believe that that's possible, okay? What they're having issues with is it's right here. It's in between the ears. They need to figure out what drives them mentally and why they can't seem to stay mentally engaged for a full football game. That's the biggest issue plaguing this offense. And Mahomes, I think, has just as much to do with it as everybody else, because mentally, it doesn't take much to just kind of sit back and throw that ball and set your feet, all that stuff, the mechanics and everything. I think it takes a little bit more to say, look, I need to drop my arm slot down a little bit to get it around this guy, because he could get his hand up. I think that you're taking some chances here and some liberal, some freedoms with what he's able to do, because they already mentioned it. They get bored at times. And I think that when everything's going well and things are happening pretty easily, that not only the play calling, but some of the plays and the way that people play come down to it, they get a little bit bored. I think Patrick is specifically a part of that. Now, no one wants to call out Patrick Mahomes, and I get it. I think that he's as big of a problem with the offense right now as anything, because I don't think he's holding the players accountable enough. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, I don't think I've seen him yell at them once. And they're the biggest culprits for the drops that have turned into interceptions this year. Both Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They need to be held responsible. Someone needs to get in their ear. They're stars. They're superstars at the NFL level. That does not mean you can't be held accountable by your teammates and by your coaching staff. Because right now, I don't feel they're holding themselves accountable. You can get frustrated all you want on the field behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, someone's got to hold you accountable. You need to do something mentally to get your head in the game, because neither of them right now have their heads in the game. When your running backs, who don't get targeted very much, outproduce you on far less targets, that's a problem. And when the balls that are coming your way, you're dropping them and they're coming into the defender's hands, it's a bigger problem. I talked about how there's no possible way that these interceptions and these turnovers can continue to happen. This was like in week 3 or 4. This is coming into week 13, and it's still happening. That's indicative of the way this team prepares, in my personal opinion. So offensively, there is a disconnect between what the players are doing and what the coaching staff is having them do in practice, whether they're taking practice seriously or not. Right now, it feels like they don't take practice seriously, and that leads into them playing like they don't take it seriously. Now, whether they took last night and said they went down and scored, and then their defense came to show up and they were like, look, we're pretty much done with this game. You can't check out in the NFL, because that game, yeah, you're going to win. Another game, you're not going to win. And when that game's in the playoffs, guess what? It's not anymore on it's just regular season games. You have to win in the postseason. You have to show up. Now, will there be a switch flip? Who am I to say? Like, this team knows what it takes to get to the Super Bowl and knows what it takes to get into the playoffs and succeed in the playoffs. I don't feel like this team is showing that type of mettle. And I don't feel like mentally and whatever it is, they're not engaged in the regular season right now. Does that mean that the postseason's out of the question? No, I think that they're clearly going to make the playoffs. They're going to win this division, I think, quite handily. And at the end of all of this, we're going to see which offense shows up. They're still, what is it? They have 8-4 now, 12 games. There's still 5 games left of the season, so there's still a lot of football to be played, a lot of ironing out to figure out on the offensive side of the football. But when you just look back at the last 2 months of offense, they're not just producing, they're not executing. Mahomes talked about it a ton. The offense itself has been such a drag. It's been so hard to watch. It's been not fun to watch, which is not something we've experienced with Patrick Mahomes. It's always been fun to watch. Even when they struggle at times, it's always been fun to watch. But this is not fun to watch. It's hard. Everything is difficult even when they're doing well. Like when they're moving the ball, they make things more difficult on themselves with penalties and holding. Like Trey Smith, for example, 2 holding penalties a game, the last like 3 games. Like he's starting to make bad plays. And he's got a lot of good tape in the season. But those negative penalties impact the mentality of your offense, especially when you're getting positive yards on those plays. It's multiple times. They're coming back, and it's an issue. Every single person needs to be held accountable. They all need to have a meeting. They need to get their heads screwed on, because right now it feels like all of the issues that they're playing with, they just take it for not executing well. And that's pretty much all it is. Eventually they'll execute well, is how I feel like they're thinking. You have to come out fiery. I think that the team itself does not have that level. Okay, the offense does not have a level of attitude, mentality that it takes to win a Super Bowl this season as it's progressing right now. The defense, on the other hand, has that mentality. And for whatever reason, there's a disconnect between the defense and the offense. The offense doesn't feed off the defense. It doesn't. Even though the defense is playing extremely well, they do not feed off of each other. That's a problem. The defense can feed off the offense. We've seen that happen. But right now, the defense is balling out. They're executing extremely well. They're making teams drive the length of the field. They're not giving up huge plays all the time. And it's coming into not getting points on huge 10-minute drives against the Broncos and into field goals and turnovers. They're doing that. And the offense does not feed off of that. So for me, it's a big problem that they're not creating off these turnovers. They continue to be bad off of turnovers. The Juan Thornhill turnover, huge, great play. It's nice to see him being used as a robber type of role. I had no idea it was coming, and he gets that interception, and then nothing. The team does nothing with it. And you feel like that's got to have something to do. Like I said, I've been hammering it all this entire video. The mentality of the offense. It doesn't seem like they share that same mentality, that swagger. The offense doesn't have its swagger back. I thought maybe after the Raiders game we'd see a little bit of that come back and that confidence come back, but it hasn't. It's just completely fallen off. So they need to figure it out. Someone on offense has to be able to flip a switch and get everybody on the same page. It's a big problem. Whether this is Andy Reid going back to calling plays or not, I don't know. I think he's trying to help Eric Bieniemy get himself a coaching job, but right now the offense is struggling, and I think Eric needs to understand that maybe Andy Reid just needs to call plays. You can be called the offensive coordinator, but Andy might be the guy to have to call plays. And at the end of the day, right now, 5 games left, Andy's got to probably realize that and go back to it. Or give Patrick Mahomes more responsibility of calling plays. That's going to make him learn faster than doing it for himself, in my opinion. I think he's going to start to learn where he goes quicker and figure things out and start to get to a rhythm a little bit more. So I want to see Patrick Mahomes call more plays. I want to see them start to get fired up in game. I don't remember last time outside of the Raiders game that happened. Okay? So feed off each other. You guys, you have to feed off each other. There's such a long season. You have to be able to take the good and expand upon it when your defense does something very well, and they've done something very well over the past 5 games. They've been excellent. Feed off of it. Take a little bit of energy out of it. Take some of this anger you've got to have built up with all these turnovers out on some of these teams. Okay? Yes, this is the long rant. Okay? I'm just talking about everything that has to do with it, because at some point, you have to be able to feed off of each other. You have to be able to execute. And the execution for offense hasn't been there since week 4. That's pretty much what I feel like outside of the Raiders game, which is just essentially because Gus Bradley can't design a defense outside of his cover three that he loves. So we're all frustrated. We're all frustrated. So I know I started off on talking about how winning is winning, winning is winning, but at the end of the day, the execution process will come back to bite them if they don't start playing with more confidence, more energy, more swagger, instead of feeding off the defense. So all of this said, right now, winning in the regular season matters. Last year, we saw the Chiefs kind of fly through some of these teams without playing very well. Right now, that feels like what they're doing. Specifically, if you guys remember the Atlanta game last year, it feels like this is how the team is playing. Specifically, the defense is playing well, and the offense is just kind of hanging in there for dear life at times. And I do think it will turn around. I don't know when. I think, another Raiders game coming up this week is something you can look forward to. Maybe have some more offensive output. I think that they're doing a good job of finally sprinkling more of the running backs. Do that more with the passing game. I think you'll start to get more in a rhythm. Just catch the ball, guys. Like, I know I harped on Mahomes and the whole mentality thing. Just catch the ball. If you guys start putting together drives and catching the ball, this will all just go away. It'll go away. You get your confidence back, and you'll stop dropping things that have no business dropping as NFL players. Talking to you too, Byron. You're my guy. Like, that's just, I feel bad for you. Piped you up, and you get the targets, and then you drop 2 of them out of 3. It's just not great. I feel better. I do feel better. So what I want you guys to do in the comments section, give me a little mini rant. I want to see some of your guys' rants. And if you're in the Discord, go ahead and you guys can tag me in some of your mini rants. There's a whole section for Dan's rants. You guys can just pop in there, write some rants down. We'll talk about things that are frustrating all of us. And I just want to hear some of your guys' rants. It feels good to get some of this out. So go ahead and type up a rant. You can put it in the Discord. You can put it in the comment section. I want to hear what you guys have, the biggest issues that you want, whether it's talking about draft, whether it's talking about how the offense is playing right now, whether it's talking about Dan Sorensen still playing more even though he's actually doing something now. Whatever it is, you guys, put it in the comments. We'll have some fun. We'll have some laughs. We'll get some of this off our chest. We'll all feel a little bit better. And I hope you guys enjoyed this rant. I needed it a little bit. I've been holding a lot of this stuff in, and this feels good to get it out. So you guys have a great day. Like I said, tomorrow we'll have film. I'm going to talk about some of the offensive execution, how they can get better, what they need to keep incorporating in the offense, whether it's Andy Reid, whether it's Eric Bieniemy, whether it's having Tyreek Hill run more drag routes, everything we saw. So film on Wednesday. Don't forget Thursday is going to be Ryan and Seth. Hopefully, assuming he's back from his vacation, then you'll have Stevie and Gooch on Friday. You guys, we got lots of stuff coming for you. The season is coming down to the end here. We're making that playoff push, and I'm hoping you guys join us for it. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.